Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show. This is a live morning space for artists, filmmakers, musicians, and creators who are navigating the real world of making art. On this show, we talk about positivity, but not the fluffy kind. We talk about what actually stops artists from moving forward, the struggles we all face, and how to move through them with clarity and purpose. We'll also highlight good things happening in the industry, share ideas, suggestions, and practical advice, and most importantly, have honest conversations. This is a live show, so if you're here, feel free to ask questions or join in. This is a place to reset, get grounded, and start the day moving forward as an artist. And good morning, everyone. Welcome to the show. John Henry Soto here, as always. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee these days, and it is a little chilly here. We're getting some snow, apparently. Apparently, we're going to get a lot of snow. And then they said it's not that much. And then they said it's a huge snow. And then they said, I don't know yet. We don't really know. And then everybody bought a lot of toilet paper. And now they're sitting at home with toilet paper. So this is what society does. This is how they operate. I don't understand where the rationality comes from, but seems to be this group weirdness where they tend to do these things. All right. Well, we're going to talk today about not people. We're going to talk about AI. We're going to talk about robots and how you can use it to the advantage of your career, of your life, of your art. Because I know there's a lot of talk about how it's taking over and it's unfair to the artists and it's cheating. I've heard that a lot. It's cheating. And to a certain degree, if you're using it to create your work, then it is cheating. If you're typing into a prompt, write me a song, a country song, that's cheating. But if you're writing, if you're saying, hey, can you clean up this audio for me, make it a little cleaner, that you made, it's not cheating. It's just using a tool to better enhance the work. So AI isn't here to replace filmmakers. We're going to talk about film mainly today. Um, it's here to level the playing field. Knowing how to use AI in your film career means you can move faster from idea to execution, develop stronger projects before spending real money. And that's a big one. And compete with larger studios using fewer resources. When you have an idea and you're trying to flush it out, sometimes you can end up spending a lot of money before you even get to set, before you even shoot one frame. But the key factor here is that you can use AI to actually build certain worlds and certain things before you actually shoot a frame, before you spend any real money. Spend a little bit of money, but not nearly as much as you would spend if you didn't have it. So from script development to post production and marketing, AI helps filmmakers work smarter, not smaller. The creators who understand these tools aren't cutting corners, they're protecting their creativity by eliminating wasted time and unnecessary costs. So think of it like this. AI is an assistant. Think of it like you've hired an assistant to do a lot of the minutia that you spend way too much time doing. And we're going to go over 10 uh, clear. I want to make sure that you understand them. There's very clear advantages of understanding AI in a film career, of how you can utilize it and how it's not cutting corners but cutting costs. So let's go on to number one here, since I have that up now. So number one, and this is something I just mentioned: faster development and pre-production. Right. So before you even get on set, AI can help generate outlines, script drafts, shot lists, budgets, and schedules quickly, and frees you up to focus on the creative decisions instead of logistics. So the only one here is script drafts. You can finish a script and you can run it through AI, and AI can maybe clean it up. I don't like that idea, because it's gonna change it to some robotic something of conversation. So that's the only one I would disagree with on the list, or at least on number one is script drafts. I think the script should be beat up. You should beat it up. You should be going back to it a bunch of times. You should continue to work on it, even on set. You're still working on script because you hear it out loud, or this, or an actor has an idea or something, and it's always evolving. It's always changing. As long as the initial storytelling process continues to move forward and it actually moves the story forward, then you're always working on the script. So I wouldn't really use it for that. Maybe, maybe if you had some prompts that it'll clean it up in a way that there was a character that needs to speak in a certain way, maybe a certain time period that you want to kind of implement it to a certain character, and maybe you can prompt it to just take this one character and have it speak this way and take these sentences and turn it into this type of, maybe something like that would be useful. um Almost like a research kind of thing of how would you speak if this was in if this one character was, came, was from the past and came to the future and spoke in 18th century or 17th century or 15th century or whatever century you pick, and spoke this way. What would that sound like on, and maybe you can use something like that. That might be a good way of using it. Number two here is smarter script analysis, which is again goes back to that. AI tools can analyze scripts for pacing, character arcs, genre fit, audience appeal. That's a tricky one, and even budget implications, helping you strengthen a project before money is spent. I think if you're going to pitch this to a studio, studios operate like this because they have to operate like this because they spend a lot of money, and they've cornered themselves, and they've put themselves in a corner where every film, I'm talking about the large studios, they have to make a certain amount of money for them to even survive, right? So they can't even really take too many chances. So if you run something like this through an AI model of some sort, where it not so much the pacing, but the character arc, but the audience appeal. Our audience is going to like this, and I think if you have some kind of an analysis on that, I think studios would like that. Now if you want to create a film that's actually human, and it appeals to people who like stories and not necessarily a mass, a certain genre or a certain demographic that you're trying to hit, then yes, you would use this if that's what you're going for. Number three is lower production costs. Absolutely. From AI assisted storyboards to virtual locations and special effects planning, AI can significantly reduce costs while maintaining professional quality. Yeah, I mean, if you're shooting, all right, this scene is shot in a castle, but we don't have a castle at the moment. We do have a castle that we're going to shoot at when we get to it, but I'd like to see what that is going to look like. So now you can put that into the AI model, and you can have it build a castle for you, and you can actually see where you're going to put the camera, where the actor's going to stand, and where does the sun rise and set on this castle. This castle is in a certain location on Earth. Does it face east, west? What kind of sunlight you're going to get there? You got to have all these things in when you're planning it, because even if you're not shooting in a castle, that sounds extravagant, right? But let's say you're shooting somewhere where you're not there yet, or you don't have access to the space until the day of the shoot. You've toured it, you've paid for it, you rented it, but now you got to get there and you got to shoot on this one particular street, and you didn't realize that the sun rises directly on that street. So all the shots that you had directly into the sun are going to look completely different than the ones you had shooting over here. If you didn't know that, but if you have photos and you have images of that location that you can easily create on AI models, then you can create what that would look like, and now you have a better chance that you'll save a lot of money. Uh, Number four, more competitive pitching. Filmmakers who use AI can present polished pitch decks, trailers, mood reels, and even market positioning faster, giving them an edge in rooms with studios, streamers, and investors. So this is interesting because investors are generally not filmmakers, not all of them, but a lot of them are just investors. That's what they do. So they put in $1 million, they want to get back 1.25 million, right? That's what they want to get back. That's their investment. And if you give them a script and you talk to them, this is my film is about this and this and this, and it's about that, and we have these actors have signed on board, and investors can be like, yeah, that sounds cool, but if you come into that room and you have a screen set up and you show them a trailer of a film that hasn't even been shot yet, but you give them like a voiceover, coming this summer, and you give them one of those kinds of trailers, right? And you give them like a lot of information, visual information, where otherwise you wouldn't be able to shoot that because you don't have the money yet, and make it look really, really nice and professional. And when you're in those rooms and you show that, these people are, they are very influenced by that because they're going to see already like a finished product almost, and the idea that their money can create this into a bigger thing is going to excite them. So this is actually, I would say, yes, this is a good one. Number 5, audience and market insights. AI helps analyze trends, comparable films, and audience behaviors so you can tailor stories that align with real demand without compromising artistic vision. Again, if you have an idea for a film in your head and then you're tailoring it to what you think audiences are going to gravitate to, then take that idea and put it aside and make that your passion project. If you just want to make a film based on what's trending, then just do that, right? Right? Just go out and just ask AI questions, what popular films are, what's the most popular genre, what's blah 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 blah, what kind of characters are interesting, and but if you use your idea and you have an idea and you're like, oh, I have a story about this and this, and then you pump, and you say, well, let me run it through AI so it can give me some ideas on it and what's happening right now and how this is going to fit into society's current interest in projects and films. Well, then you're shooting yourself in the foot because you are compromising your artistic integrity at this point, because that wasn't what you came up with originally, right? So I say put those projects aside. I want to make this film. It's going to be a small film. It's going to be my film. I'm going to put it the way I want to do it. And then go back and use AI to give you what's currently happening in the industry. If that's kind of like how you want to go, right? Number 6, enhance post-production efficiency. AI speeds up editing, color correction, sound cleanup, music temping, subtitling, and localization, cutting post timelines dramatically. So for some of this, I think it's a good idea. My last film, I had to use outside. It was in the middle of the pandemic, so I didn't have access to a lot of editors and couldn't, meet with them or anything. And it was just a weird time, right? But I did find editors in other parts of the world. I found, and not editors. I edited the film myself, but I needed color correction, so I found somebody who could color correct it. I did not know how to do it. I messed it up, and I needed a professional, and I did. I got the color and the tone that I wanted for the film. I wanted it to look like really old, and I gave him examples, and the guy really did. He nailed it, right? Another one was the sound. I was messing up the sound too. Sound is very tricky, and you have to have good sound in your film. So I paid someone to do that, and that was actually a really good idea. And I'm glad I paid this person. And but these were humans, right? So what's happening now is AI could actually help you with that. The editing is a little tricky because the editing you wanna have your own vision of how you see it. So I would never use AI for editing because I have a certain thing in my head and I don't even know what it would give me that would be different unless it makes it kind of typical of what normal film or something, and I have different ideas and different cuts, different eye movements. You want to make sure you capture all those things. I think that you need to be a human to do that. um, but the color correction, you can actually give it a certain tone. You can give it some suggestions. You can give it some ideas of past films. You know, give it this tone on this section, give it this color tone on this section, and just give it a nice color palette, depending on what mood you're trying to create in that certain scene. So it takes a long time to do that. And unfortunately, there are color correction people that this job is going to get less and less because AI is capable of doing it pretty good. And that's one of the things. The other thing, sound is also another one. Cleaning up sound. I spent a lot of money on my film to get a sound guy. We had to go back and forth. There was a couple of sections that I thought his voice needs to be a little louder here because he's delivering a line that I want people to hear, and it's a little bit too low, and whatever, and that was a human. But if you can tweak it with an AI model, I think that's actually a good thing. Music temping, music is the music, right? You want to make sure that it is at a good tone. You don't want fake music. I'm a musician, so I want to use artists that have created music on their own. I don't want to use AI music. That's just where I am at the moment. I don't know what's going to happen in the next few years, if it's going to get so good or so easy, or if it's going to be, bring costs down to a certain degree where I can put out more projects. Right now it's really difficult to put out projects. I haven't put out a project in years since my last film last year. I took, finished the film festival circuit last year, and I don't have anything in the can. Although I finished writing my last script, but I haven't shot anything, and that becomes a little bit depressing. So I want to kind of get that kind of going. But you know, the idea that you can get an AI machine to kind of help you with some of these, I think it is a good thing, and I think it's going to be used, regardless of whether we hate it or not. I think for these kinds of things, it just makes sense. It's cost efficient, and if it gives you what you want, that's the bottom line. And if it doesn't interfere with the storytelling, and you have a good story, right? It's all these AI models, they don't mean anything if your story sucks, right? You have to have a good, interesting story that the audience can relate to, right? Number seven, expanded creative possibilities. So AI allows filmmakers to visualize ambitious ideas early, experiment with styles, and test creative direction that would otherwise be too expensive or time consuming. So I think I touched on that a little bit with locations, right? And with something that's very ambitious visually. So you can actually use an AI model to kind of give you an idea of what it's going to look like when you do shoot it. I'm not saying use the AI model to for your actual film, but it will give you some ideas that would be very expensive to experiment on if you didn't have an AI model. Now you can do that with that, and it just makes it a lot a lot smoother, a lot better, and you can do more. You can actually do a lot more because you can have a lot bigger ideas. You see what I'm saying? Like if you had one big idea and you went out and physically had to go with this big idea and test out these big ideas, that's very expensive. But now you can actually visualize, on with an AI model that idea, and you can do it over and over again, different places, different tones. Now that does a couple of things too. It also gives you way too many ideas that you can overwhelm yourself with that creative process and then get lost. That kind of sucks. So it's sort of like that song that Bruce Springsteen had, right? 57 channels and nothing on. I mean, that was when he wrote it. It was 57 channels. He's exaggerating. 57 channels. How many channels do we have today? Like thousands. Like literally, you have too much stuff to actually go through. There's so much content out there being thrown out. It's hard to pick something. Same thing when you're making a film. If you have too many options, it makes it difficult to really make a decision. Get a couple of options. So the discipline in using AI is also going to be an art form in itself. You got to make sure that that while you're using these platforms, that there's a certain limit, and you don't want to overwhelm yourself, and you don't want to like pigeonhole yourself into ideas, because now you have so many ideas. you don't know which one to use first. Um, AI allows this one, number 8, stronger marketing and distribution strategies. So AI helps optimize trailers, social clips, thumbnails, metadata, and release timing, making your film more discoverable in crowded digital spaces. This is true. You can use AI to kind of give you more marketing ideas, distribution strategies, and all those things are really, really valuable. And if it can give you like an idea of how you can market your film better, remember we're up against, we're David to the Goliath, right? And we have to utilize any idea that we can get. Oh, maybe we can put our film here, maybe we can put our film there. Oh, I didn't think about this. I should do this. It'll if it gives you those kinds of ideas that are out there already and the system has them in there, and it presents them to you and you can utilize them to get your film out there and to make your film more successful, I say go for it. Number 9, career longevity and adaptability. So this is understanding AI keeps you relevant as the industry evolves. Filmmakers who adapt are more likely to stay employed, funded, and sought after. Um, there's a certain truth to that, but it's not just about AI, it's about all technologies, right? It's about being at the forefront of technology in general. So the new camera, the new lighting, the new light sources, different camera lenses, a lot of it is similar. I mean, you can make, arguably the technology for filming, or it has never been any better. And how good is it going to get? Why? If it gets too clear, it doesn't look like film, right? It looks like a television, a VHS from the 80s, a soap opera. If it looks too visually clear and lit, that 4K in film. If you've ever seen The Godfather in 4K, I mean, the whole thing about The Godfather was that it was dark. It was very soft. There was some scenes that were just blurry, actually, but they were beautifully shot. And so every frame is alive. You can feel it. With digital, it's never like that. And although it's gotten incredibly amazing, and a lot of films and TV shows are all made digital now, the technology, staying in front of it, is important. And AI is the newest technology, right? So staying in the forefront of it and understanding the models and understanding how you can utilize it is important. And if you're a filmmaker and you want to be in the current studios, in the studios that really pay attention to these things, then you need to know it. You need to understand it. And you need to be able to also suggest how to use it. Not just say this is how I'm using it in my film, but you also give ideas and be knowledgeable enough where you can be important when you're sitting at that table, and you will stay employed. You will stay, the funding will come, and you will be sought after. It's just facts. Number 10, the final one here, is independence and control. AI empowers filmmakers to do more in-house, reducing reliance on large teams or studios, and giving you greater creative and financial control over your work. So this is where you don't need a big team, because now you have, like I said at the beginning of this show, was you have an assistant. Use AI as an assistant. Have it do things for you that you don't want to do, or that's just the minutia of the industry, that you kind of want to focus on the creative element of it. But now you have this tool, and it reduces costs. It reduces relying on these large teams. Now you can have a smaller team, and it's just much more economical, and it makes a lot more sense. Good morning, Daniel. He says. Uh, Contractor connects use AI to generate images that it pairs with its post on LinkedIn and Facebook. Yeah, exactly. And that could be helpful. These are helpful tools. So wherever you can use AI, today we're talking about film, obviously, but wherever you can utilize AI, that it will help you move forward and keep your project fresh and exciting, let's get on board. I know that there's purists out there that would never do it, that would never ever use it, and that's fine. That's a choice. What I'm saying is to at least understand where it can benefit, your production, where it will actually help you create more projects. Whereas you can create one film, one or two short films or one feature film per year. Maybe you can do two per year because a lot of this stuff is the costs are being cut down. And I guarantee you that this is what the big boys are thinking with right now. They're cutting tremendous costs. This is why there's this year, 2026, we're going to have more releases than ever before. And it's due to AI being able to do that. Last year, we had a record film releases as well. We had a really good year last year. The economy was strong. People were spending money. People aren't afraid to the film production. Um, the Hollywood is sort of not collapsing, but it realized that it was using a model that wasn't working. So a lot of smaller production houses opened up, and studios across the country are opening. In New Jersey has big ones, and Atlanta, just south of where I am, there's a big, massive studios. Of course, we have Tyler Perry is down there, pretty much runs the whole state with his studio, which is amazing and an inspiring story in itself. And all these studios are opening up across the country, you know. So Hollywood is kind of adjusting. Hollywood isn't going away. Hollywood, I don't want Hollywood to go away. Hollywood is, it's film, it's the history, it's the culture, it's we want Hollywood to succeed, Um, people's attention spans, they are what they are. That's where they're going to be. There's a lot more things for them to focus on. Your content has to be good. It has got to be fast. It's got to get to the point quicker. You have to be able to get into different platforms, and more platforms are also being released. So verticals are becoming very popular now, right? Verticals are shot strictly for the phone. They're shot long, and this is a whole other market right now that verticals are being utilized. In China, it's been $1 billion industry for years. They have soap operas on them, and they shoot like 1 hour, 2 hour films, and then they just release them in 90-second increments on these verticals. And now you have how many minutes do you have, that whatever that adds up to, but you have months and months of content that you're releasing, and every day people are tuning in for those 90 minutes, or for those 90 seconds, I should say. Um, so that is a very, very user friendly way of using AI to make sure that you can get more content out there and compete with the big boys, until you become a big boy yourself, right? So, what excites me most is how AI gives filmmakers more control and longevity in an industry that's constantly shifting. When you understand audience trends, pitching strategies, and distribution through AI driven insights, you're no longer guessing. You're making informed creative decisions. The future belongs to filmmakers who can tell great stories and adapt new technology. That combination is what keeps careers alive, projects funded, and voices heard. And that's the important factor, is good stories. You have to tell great stories. Storytelling is the key. That is the commodity moving forward. I guarantee you. These big brands, I did a show earlier this week on brands using filmmakers to tell their stories and hiring in-house, creating in-house entertainment centers where they're actually utilizing the filmmakers' creative edge, their insight into telling the stories of their brand. So Kellogg's Cornflakes will be able to have its own vertical film, its own. And how will they do it? I have a lot of ideas on that, which I've actually, I'm putting together, and hopefully I get to work with some of these brands as well. Depending on the brand, I have great ideas for each brand, and this is what's going to be the future. And I think it's an exciting time right now to be a filmmaker. The thing is, do not be afraid of the technology that's coming. Do not be afraid, because you will be overwhelmed by it if you don't at least get some knowledge. And in today's world, there's so many ways that you can get educated on it. You go online, you get yourself some courses. They're very inexpensive, and you can learn a lot. You can do it for free on YouTube and other platforms where it's completely free, and you can get the information and implement it into your career and into your films and give yourself that edge. You deserve it. We all deserve it. So get out there and get yourself educated on this. All right, friends. Ooh, let me take a sip of coffee here. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well out there. It is the weekend. We got some snow coming in. I know there's a lot of storms across the country. It happens every year, folks. Every year. For a very long time, it's been happening. Since I can remember, I remember in the winter it gets cold. And in the winter it snows and it gets cold. So enjoy yourselves out there. Take care. I will see you all. Have a wonderful weekend. I will see you all on Monday morning and Sunday night if you're interested in tuning into our show, Boldly Gone, where we analyze Star Trek episodes with life lessons. And we're going to be talking about The Inner Light. It's a very classic episode on The Next Generation. It's a wonderful episode, one of my favorite episodes of just Star Trek in general. It's a wonderful one. So please check it out. Sunday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be back on Monday morning, 7 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take care of yourselves all. God bless you all. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. And as always, peace.